Get inspired, stay inspired, where we get real about weight loss. Limiting beliefs. That is the topic of today. Get inspired, stay inspired. And we're just going to have a conversation together. We're going to be vulnerable and share and also help you or show you or tell you 7 weight loss specific limiting beliefs that we encounter with our clients. And we're hoping that by the end of this video, you will get tips to help you conquer those. Because if you don't, guys, words have power and you will not reach your goal if you don't. So yep. You will, right, ladies?
Yep. We're going to do everything we can to get you through it.
Yep. Yes, we are. We are. So let's get started. Number 1, I can't do it. That's the number 1 limiting belief. Why? Why can't you do it? Why can't I do it? I can. Don't you think, Docs?
Yeah. You can. You just have to really put your mind to it. If you tell yourself you can't do it, then you're never going to do it.
I think what happens when people get into this I can't do it mindset to an extent, it's that they've tried other stuff in the past and failed. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result every time. So if you've tried something and you keep trying the same thing, well, you know what? There's a good chance that might not work for you. Or if you're not sticking it out long enough, or if you're not doing things exactly the way you're supposed to do them. So that I can't do it mindset sets in, and that negative self-talk is just awful.
Yeah. And, to be super real, there's some people that can't do it on their own.
No, they cannot. They need that accountability.
Right.
They can do it. They just can't do it on their own yet.
Yeah. We encounter that often, right? We've got people that come into the office and say, I need the accountability. I self-sabotage myself. I tell myself I can't do it, or I try it. It's not working. I try the same thing. It's not working. I get frustrated and give up.
Mm-hmm. That's like 90% of the people that walk into our office.
Yeah, it's a great majority of the people that come in. They need their help, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help in order to better yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the truth is that people are out there searching for programs and this diet, that diet, this new trend, this new injection, this and that. There's so much information being thrown at them. They don't know where to start. They try all the things and they just try it, 5%, and then it doesn't work. And they don't really know how to do it because they don't have the team to help them and support them and teach them and educate them. And then when they're having a down moment, they don't have the person there to bring them back up and pick them back up. So then they just, fail and they just move on. And so they take the ownership that, I just can't do it.
And along with that, I just can't do it comes, I don't deserve it. Why bother?
Yeah. Which is number 2. Number 2 is I don't deserve it. Why do you think people feel like they don't deserve it? And, I'll chime in, I'll talk a little bit about this. I think in my experience is that they've been bogged down by past experiences, that their self-esteem is low. Maybe they don't have the family support system around them, people that are constantly speaking negative things to them. Maybe they had a trauma that, they don't feel like they deserve anything. And that's not the truth. They do. I do. You guys do. You guys watching do. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think, I've encountered this, women come in and say, I don't deserve it because I feel like I can't take that extra time for myself. I have a family, I have kids, I have a parent or, a loved one I'm taking care of. How do I put myself first? I can't put myself first. I feel like I don't deserve to do that because I've got to take care of these other people. So there's a lot of people that do that, but it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to say you deserve it.
Well, and you can't give out of an empty cup.
100%.
So, I have felt this. I have, been running a business, raising a family with an unsupportive partner. And you feel like, you know, why, you know, there's no, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have time for this right now. I need to do all these other things. And, you know, again, it's that self-talk. It's,
Yep.
you know, but you can't give out of an empty cup, because if you're not feeling well and you're not feeling, first of all, if you're not feeling attractive, it's hard to be in a relationship.
True.
That's part one. Okay. So intimacy with your spouse, if you don't feel attractive, that's tough. And that just makes every other part of that relationship tougher. Being overweight and unhealthy, if you have little kids and you can't run around and play with them, that's also,
Yeah.
you know, so if you give this to yourself and you take care of yourself, you are in such a much better place to give to your children, to give to your spouse, to give to your work, to give to, you know, a parent that you might be taking care of. But you have to fill your cup before you can fill anybody else's.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I think that this belief that I don't deserve it also goes together with the value that you have of yourself, that you place on yourself. You know, some people don't place a high value on themselves. You know, they have a low worthiness, value, and they need to break through that. They need to speak words that counter those beliefs and say, yeah, I am valuable. Yeah, I do deserve it. Yeah, I am worthy, because we all are. Number 3, guys, I'm doomed to stay this way. I think that goes, these are all like inner.
They all go together.
They all go together. Exactly. A
I'm
lot of it
doomed.
has to do with self-esteem too.
Yeah, you know, value, worthiness, I'm doomed. Why are we doomed?
Yeah.
We're not.
Why? Because you've tried something and you failed at it. Maybe you didn't have a right support. Maybe, you know, you didn't give it enough time. Maybe you didn't do the right thing. You know, you shouldn't be doomed.
How about this? How about people that try so many things and they gain it back?
Yeah.
Well, they feel doomed because, oh yeah, I lose 10 pounds, I lose 20 pounds, but then, you know, I just
Gain
get
30.
fat, so I'm just
Well,
supposed to be this way.
You know what? I think that mentality comes from the fact of thinking that there's a quick fix to health, or there's a quick fix to weight loss, or there's a
Bad
quick
diet.
fix to fitness, you
Yeah.
know? And the example I like to give in my office is this, because everybody could relate to this. People think that you're going to lose weight, and if you do nothing to keep it off, it's going to stay off, or the program failed. Well, you could go to the gym, pay a personal trainer 5 times a week for a year, and you could get jacked up, okay? And then you quit going to the gym, and what happens to those muscles?
They're gone.
There's a maintenance process to anything, okay? You
Including
could
surgery.
work really, really hard. You could
Yeah.
work really, really hard for a month, make a lot of money, and never work again. And unless you made some good investments with that money, it's gonna go away. You know, eventually you need to keep working.
Maintain everything.
You need to maintain everything. And it's such a,
What happens if you don't clean it again?
Yeah.
there's so many other things it applies to, but people think that it doesn't apply to your body and
Yeah.
to weight loss and to health and to eating healthy.
And
You
and
can't
this
eat
is
healthy
why,
once.
like, this is why people come into my office and they say, oh, you know, what's your diet about? I said, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change.
Mhm.
If you go in with a mentality of it's a diet, diets are short term, you know. The lifestyle change is long term, and that's what we do. We teach you these lifestyle changes that are long term, and you keep the weight off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're not doomed, ladies and gentlemen. You're not doomed.
It's
You
so
just have to
hard.
make some good choices.
It's so hard in our society that it's like, I call it the microwave society that wants
Yes.
everything right now as fast as possible. You
Fast,
know,
cheap, and easy.
yeah, and it's just, that's not how life is.
Yeah.
You know, if you get something fast, cheap, and easy, it's gonna backfire for sure.
For
Yep.
sure.
Okay, for sure. Number 4, my family is overweight.
Eh.
So I guess I'm supposed to be overweight too. No, that is a limiting belief. It's not the genes, guys. It's the habits. Okay. It can
Yep.
maybe, what do you think, docs? Maybe a teeny tiny, maybe bit of gene, but the most of it is all habit based.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
so my family is overweight, so I guess I'm supposed to be too.
Look at
There's,
what your family eats, right? You
yep,
know, at your
yep.
family dinners, what is everybody eating? You know, culturally, there's a lot of cultures that, you know, some of their foods are so unhealthy, you know, large quantities of it. You know, look at your habits and your
Yeah.
family habits.
And there's an area of study called epigenetics that actually studies exactly this. We might have the genes for all kinds of stuff, but just like we have the genes for the bad stuff, we have the genes for the good stuff. And your habits and your food and what you do on a daily basis actually triggers the good genes or the bad genes to light up and
Yeah.
develop either good or bad for you.
Yeah.
So don't think you're doomed. Genetically, you have all the good qualities of everybody that has good qualities. It's just a matter of what are you doing to trigger those genes.
You
Yeah.
know, one of the things I'm smiling because when we talk about my family is overweight, in my culture, there's this thing called big boned.
Yep.
Yeah. I think in all cultures, you know,
Yeah.
in my culture we have that too. But you know, some cultures think about this too. I've encountered this that, you know, if you are at a normal weight, they look at you
They
and
think you're
say, your
skinny.
family looks at your, oh, you're too skinny. Are you sick?
Oh
You
yeah.
know? So
Oh yeah.
some cultures want you to be heavier, which is unhealthy.
Because if
Hmm.
you're not, you're unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
Just said.
And it's not even a vanity thing. It's a health
Health
thing. There
thing.
are certain things that happen to your body when you are above the range that is healthy. Diabetes, high blood pressure, joint pain, you know,
Cholesterol, heart
cholesterol
disease.
issues. You
Yeah.
know, Martha and I are Cuban. Rice and beans and some kind of fried thing is a common thing for every meal.
But listen, don't
We're not
discount the
really
Italians because we eat the pasta, the rice, the bread, right? And the
exactly.
fried things. So I think
So
every culture has got
every
that.
culture has a
Just one
thing,
portion.
not just
Yes.
one portion, all the portions.
Said,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
So, you can't say it runs in my family. You know what? No, it doesn't. You could break
Run
that
from it.
generational curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run from it. Yeah.
It is a generational thing, it really, really is. And something that just came to my mind too is my grandmother just turned 90 years old.
Hmm.
And she's amazing. She's like a 70-year-old. She walks around, she does all the things. And so I've heard people in my family say, well, she never stopped eating Cuban food and she never, did a diet and she never this and that. But the food, the quality of the food that my
50 years ago.
grandmother had access to back then when she was, in her early years, going into her mid, is completely different than our food source now. Our food source
100%.
now is, I mean, the only word I can think of is sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
Yep.
And so we have to break through those kind of excuses. It's not, we have to break through that. Number 5, guys, no matter what I do,
Mhm.
dot, dot, dot. So no matter what I do, it doesn't work.
You know what? We have people in my office all the time that do that. And then
Yes.
they will take our program home and proceed to cheat and then say, no matter what I do, dot, dot, dot. If you follow something wholeheartedly as it
100%.
was given to you, 100%, no cheating, no excuses. I tell people in my office, our primary program is 6 weeks of Suck It Up Buttercup. And I tell them just like that. And they all smile and I smile. And I'm like, and I promise I'll get you back to a point where you can have a couple more things. But if you want to lose the weight, you have to commit 100% fully to do exactly what you're guided to do. Your way clearly hasn't worked for, the last 45 years, Mary. So why don't we try this?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and that goes back to
I
that
hear people.
self-limiting belief.
Yeah. People come into the office and they say, well, I watch what I eat Monday through Friday. I get down a couple pounds and then I gain it all back. Well, what do you do on the weekends? What happens on Saturday and Sunday? are you losing the same 2-3 pounds no matter
Over
what
and over
I
and
do?
over.
I
Yeah.
can't get rid of it. You know,
Right.
so if you're good Monday through Friday and then on the weekends you completely blow it, no matter what I do.
Right. So let's look at another side of this, because I have seen clients that they do all the things. They stick to it to the T. Every single thing that we tell them to do, they do it. And I just had a client the other week like this, and we're like, trying to figure out to break her code. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
Because she's doing all the things. Why isn't she losing as much weight as we would like her to? Although she was still doing good, we want great, right?
Right.
So I asked her, what are your stress levels like? She's like, oh, my work and this and that, anxiety. I have so much anxiety and I have stress and And it's incredible. I said, okay, this week, this is what I want you to do. That's the focus of this week. I want you to take a hold of this right here.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with her protein, vegetables, fruit, and carbs. It had nothing to do with her water intake, her bowel movements. It had nothing to do with any of that. It had to do with this here. So there's some people that they can do or will do or are doing all the things, but in here, they are sabotaging and they're telling themselves, no matter what I do, no matter what I do, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna conquer this. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail. And they actually do. That's how much
Mhm.
power words and thoughts have. Is incredible. All
Yeah,
right,
well, let me dig in on that one, okay? And if anybody wants to dig in a little bit more on that, there is a study by a guy called Dr. Emoto, Emoto, and he talks about the power of words with water drops of all things. And I'm not going to dig too deep into that. I'm going to give you guys homework. And we're mostly water, so imagine what you are saying to yourself on a daily basis. So homework.
Yeah, it's
homework.
that self-talk, right? We did we did a video on this. We spoke about this. It's a self-talk, right? If you program something to your head, you're never going to be able to accomplish it. If you say I can't do it, or no matter what I do, it's not going to happen. Listen to Dr. Marty. Check out Dr. Emoto.
Yes, and check out our
Really
video. It's called it's titled Self-Sabotaging.
Yep.
Check out that video. All right, number 6, it's too hard. Okay, so I had this one client the other day, and I was explaining to her, the protocol, and that we want her to eat a certain amount of protein, and she said, oh, that's not enough protein for me. I said, okay, listen, we don't push here. If you feel like you're not ready to the program, that's fine. But I'm just curious, what do you eat for lunch? I have a turkey sandwich for lunch. So tell me, do you put 5 ounces of turkey into your sandwich?
No way.
She's like, no.
2
I said,
slices.
so what we're asking you to do is to eat more protein than what you're actually doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now it's like she comes now and she's doing fantastic, amazing woman. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's too hard because we're actually making her eat.
Now it's too hard to eat all her meals.
Yeah, we're actually, I'm like, we make you eat, guys. All right.
Many people realize that.
The limiting belief too hard though, comes from where?
You know what? I think everybody gets used to doing what they're doing. We get used to doing the same thing.
Yep.
Okay. Your life, how you do your life is easy for you because it's the habits you have acquired and it's what you do. So, the more you do something, the easier it gets. So if you're used to doing something a certain way, now that's easy for you. Changing what you're doing is hard. One of my goals this year is to be in the gym more and get physically stronger. Okay. It is hard. It sucks. My partners here know that is not my friend. Okay. But you know what also sucks? Being out of shape, being weak, getting old without having strong muscles. All of that also sucks. So pick your suck.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
like
Yeah,
You know,
I
being overweight, not being able to put on the clothes you want to, going to the mall and not being able to say, I like that outfit, I'm going to look awesome in that Friday night. That also sucks.
yeah.
So, you know, pick what you choose your hard to be. If, you know, it's hard to be healthy, sometimes it's hard to be healthy, but you know what's really hard? Being sick all the time.
You
Yeah.
know what's hard for me? Taking multiple supplements. I know this is
I'm
kind of
so
random.
bad at it.
I got mine here, ladies.
Let me tell you why I'm saying this. It really is like my stomach starts feeling weird and horrible real easy. It can be like prescription or not, whatever. And so what gets through my brain when you say pick your suck is that I want to be as healthy as possible. I know this kind of sounds weird, but it's just, you know, this is we all have
Yeah.
our thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be 70 years old and have to pop pills all the time and go to doctor's offices
Yeah.
all the time. That is my goal. My goal is that my retirement years, which is going to be way before that. Okay, I'm like talking to is that I can actually enjoy it. My outings is to different countries, not different doctors.
Yeah.
That is my focus.
So you have to work on that now, because
Yeah.
by the time you're 70, it's, you know, it's harder to go backwards. You cannot.
You know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It becomes even harder, right?
Yep.
So I always tell people, you know, you make the small changes. Like the first week of like our program, people come back on their first follow-up and they're like, oh my gosh, that was hard. I said, what was hard? Was it hard eating real food? Or was it hard getting on the routine of preparing food and learning how to eat? When you're learning something, it's hard. Think about like when you learned how to tie your shoes. How difficult was that? Right? Now you tie your shoes, you don't even think about it. Why? Because it's part of your routine. You know, learning things is hard.
Yeah.
Once you get the hang of it, it's easy.
I also think it's also personality types. Like I'm like a type A structured person, and when something I'm a routine, I have a routine that I like to tackle every single day, and when something comes my way that I have to
Shakes it
like
up.
my routine gets out of whack and I have to like fit this one thing into my routine, um it's hard for me. You know, it's not too hard. You know, I don't have a limiting belief about it, but it's freaking hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I have to like I literally have to sit down and restructure my life and write it down and type it and whatever. I'm like, okay, now I got it. So personality type, I think, also has to do with it's too hard.
For sure.
All right. Number 7. This is the last one. This is very very deep, but it's very true. And it's very personal for me. I feel vulnerable. That's a limiting belief. Where that comes from is like from a defense mechanism standpoint. And this is for people that operate in fear. They've had traumas in their life, and they feel like if they have to, they rather protect themselves versus open themselves up to change and to different things. And one of the reasons why I say it's personal to me is because most of my upbringing really when I was a kid, I was probably the ugliest kid in the world. I should show you guys a picture. I was super bullied. Like I was bullied bad. And then, you know, things in my life. And so I had to break through that defense thing. I mean, I used to fight. Dr. Marty will tell you. She's known me for over 20. I used to, at one point, I got so sick and tired of being bullied that I just fought everybody. I had the worst temper in the world. I had to break through that. I'm not like that now, guys. You won't come to Inspire with Davey. I won't pick a fight with you. But I get it. Like I get this limiting belief. I feel vulnerable. What do you guys think about that?
Fat is a defense. Fat is protective. Fat is a defense mechanism. People that have had either trauma, sexual trauma, trauma with intimacy, a bad relationship in the past, it's protective. And I think as adults, most of us have had something,
Yes.
it's hard to go through life without something hurting you. I mean, I wish I could protect my children from it forever, but that's living, right? Living makes you vulnerable. Living creates things that you want to feel protected from. And whether it's bullying, whether it's a, bad physical experience at some point, whether it's a spouse that's just, you don't really like them, but you're married to them. And you know what, if I'm overweight, he'll say away. There's so much to that,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
That's
also
so real,
the verbal
verbal
part
abuse.
of that too.
Yeah.
The verbal abuse. I recently had a woman came into my office and she says, Dr. Donna, I gained all this weight because I was with somebody that told me that I looked ugly and I was fat, and I wasn't fat. I was a size 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so I broke up with that person, but I was afraid to go out. So
Mm-hmm.
I stayed home on Friday and Saturday nights and I ate my heart out. And I was going to live up to what he told me.
And as we become vulnerable, unfortunately, we also create these defense mechanisms to protect ourselves from vulnerability. But again, it goes back to your health. Honestly, it's all about health. There's nothing vanity related, because all shapes are beautiful. All people are beautiful. There's a flavor for every palate, right? So when we talk about weight loss and when we talk about cultural stuff and when we talk about, we want you to be healthy. I tell my people come into my office and they're like, well, I want to weigh this. And I'm like, that's under what you need to be. That's not healthy. I want you to be skinny, but healthy. Healthy is the focus of Inspire, is to get you to a healthy, vibrant, how can I have life in my years state of health?
Yeah.
And so whether, doesn't matter, you're gorgeous. You are always gorgeous. People walk into my office, they're always beautiful, but they're not always healthy.
True.
And so you need to make yourself learn how to walk through the vulnerability to get to a place of health, because other people's opinions don't matter, but your health always matters.
Yeah, always. Okay, so then how do we do this, guys? So one of the ways that you can start breaking through these beliefs is, number one, you need to sit down and write them down. Like, have a vulnerable, truthful, transparent moment with yourself and write them down. And once you do, then you go one by one and you want to counter it with an empowering belief. So, for example, I can't do it. You want to counter that, attack it, exit out with I can do it.
Talk to yourself every morning. Give yourself a little pep talk in the mirror.
Type it up nicely, emojis and all the things. Stick it on your mirror.
Yep.
Number 2,
I used to do that.
Number 2, I don't deserve it. Counter it with I'm worthy. I do deserve it.
Yep.
Number 3, I'm doomed to stay this way. So how
that
do
is
you?
An outright lie.
Yeah.
Outright right. I am not doomed.
I'm not
don't
doomed.
have to stay this way.
I can conquer anything.
I can conquer anything. Number 4, my family is overweight. You counter that. You attack that and say, I can break generational curses, because that does.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, no matter what I do, it doesn't matter what I've done. I can do this.
There's always something new for me to try. There's always something that's going to work for me.
Right.
Yes. Number 6, it's too hard. We counter
Everything's
that.
hard. Everything new is hard. I can do it.
It gets easier every day.
It's easier.
I can do all things.
I can do all things.
I can do all things. Number 7, I feel vulnerable. How do we counter that? It's okay to be vulnerable. And it's okay for me to do what I need to do for me.
Yeah.
That's how you conquer that. So that is another set of homework. Dr. Margie gave you one. I'm giving you another. I want you guys to sit down and do that because you can. Because you can, and you can conquer it. And it's not something that all of us didn't have to do at one point or the other. I have a limiting belief that comes from my family. It's mostly comes from, and it's not weight loss related, it's more like ability related. Like of my abilities of what I can actually do, like produce and do. And that comes from like the bullying. And I used to have a really bad lisp in my, I had to go through intense therapy when I was little because I had a lisp and I used to write backwards and I had these huge glasses that were this thick. So I had to conquer a belief that that I just wasn't good enough.
You know what? We all have stuff we have to conquer every day.
Every single one of us.
I wake up every single day, and before I get out of bed, I talk to myself. I literally lay there. I am worthy. Every single morning. Okay, this is ongoing. Sometimes it's hard to remember. You know what's also hard? Walking around feeling less than.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I say all this to say that you guys are not alone. This is stuff that we've also had to do ourselves and still do. So you can do it, we can do it. So let's go out there and do it. We hope that this helped you guys. If it did, comment, reach out to us. We are here to help you in all of these things. Watch other videos, subscribe to our channel, follow us. We throw videos up every single week. And so reach out to us and we hope this helps you. Have a good one.